right. Rob and Slim Show. We are back, and we're on with Mike Brown, correct?
That's correct.
Awesome, Mike. You are a podcaster. Your show is called the Pleasing Terrors Podcast, and it's a bi-weekly stories about haunted places, creepy history, and forgotten folklore, correct?
That's right.
Now, how did you start that?
Well, I live in Charleston, South Carolina, and I've been giving ghost tours in Charleston for almost 20 years now. And so I've been telling ghost stories for 20 years, and over the years I started getting interested in haunted places outside of Charleston, and eventually I kind of decided to do a podcast about some of those things.
Is there a big haunted place? Is there a lot of haunted places in Charleston?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, well, one of them, the worst one, I guess you would say, is the Old City Jail, which I spent the night alone in February.
Wow. What happened?
Well, the jail is a super creepy place. It was a jail from 1802 to 1939, and they estimate about 10,000 people died there. And back in its worst days, people were tortured there, people were executed there. And I mean, it was really just above and beyond even what you'd think with a prison. They would instead of just hanging people, they had this catapult where they would put a noose around their neck and then fire the catapult, so it would literally just rip their head right off.
Head off. Holy
wow!
Wow.
Slambo likes that.
Slambo, I think he's a little aroused right now.
That's hilarious.
That's crazy. Wow. Wow.
Depends on the prisoner. It really does.
Is that what it depended on? Like, how did you get that sentence? Were you just the worst of the worst to get that, or how did that work?
No, that was just standard execution procedure.
Oh God!
Wow!
I
In this country, wow!
I could see if it was like John Gacy or something.
Yeah,
that would be funny. But
just anybody you robbed the
you
fruit
robbed
stand.
the liquor store or something. You don't deserve that.
Yeah. But no, they would torture people psychologically by putting them in a coffin and leaving them there for days at a time, so that they would just go crazy.
Yeah, I can't even stand that scene
in
in Kill Bill.
Yeah.
Wow.
They said the strongest person lasted 8 days before they just went crazy.
That's a long time. Wow. Oh my God.
But yeah, they had a lot of torture devices. You know, they had a thing called the crane, where they would put your ankles through these ropes and then put the ropes around your wrists and stretch you out. And then they would whip you with this whip called a cat of nine tails, which is like these thin leather strips with pieces of metal or glass embedded in it.
I heard people pay for that now.
Yeah, you get the lashes. Not only do you get the lashes from that, but then after they're done, they would douse your back with salt and then drag you back to your cell. So, I mean, it was just a brutal place.
Wow.
I feel like the guards and wardens in this place were just as bad as the prisoners.
Yo, you'd have to be. You'd have to be to enjoy that or to administer that kind of punishment.
I'm curious, did people know that this was going on there, or was it like...
You mean like people outside?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think they cared.
Right.
It was the norm.
Yeah.
Wow. That's crazy. That's crazy. And where have you visited outside of the state?
Well, I recently was visiting New York City, and I took a ghost tour through Greenwich Village, and I got to see places like the Triangle Shirtwaist Factory, where, you know, you had 147 people, I think it was, died in like 20 minutes.
Wow.
In a fire there in the early 20th century. And the messed up thing there was, you know, the building is now called the Brown Science Building. It's part of NYU.
Wow.
And the fire department put out the fire in 20 minutes. They saved the building, even though 140 people, mostly women, mostly immigrants, were killed in this fire. And the building is still in use, so it's offices and classrooms now. And so you can imagine, you know, going to class, sitting in a room where, you know, people burned alive.
Yeah.
And
it doesn't even seem possible that you would save the building if it was that atrocious of a fire.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then there's, I was going to say, there's the House of Death, which was another interesting place I'd wanted to see too.
House of Death, you said?
Yeah, that's 14 West 10th Street in New York.
Wow, what happened
It's
there?
supposed to be haunted. Well, it's supposed to be haunted by 20-something different ghosts, one of which is Mark Twain, who lived there at one point. But there was an infamous murder that happened there. I think it was in the 80s. There was a lawyer, I forget his name, Joel something, Steinberger, I think was the name.
Sounds
and
like
he
it.
murdered his child.
Oh.
He murdered his child there. Wow. But yeah, it's just a. You have these places and they have these horrible histories, and sometimes they're just sort of right there. Like the jail here in Charleston, there are houses, literally 100 feet away from it.
What is it? Is it still a prison?
It's just empty now. It's been empty for years. They give tours of it nowadays.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Wow. What did you record when you stay there? Did you record it all, or did you just do it for the experience?
Well, I did it for the podcast, but also for the experience. I mean, I'm not like, one of the people you see on TV. I don't know how to use all those gadgets.
I was gonna say, do you have a little like boop boop boop
Right.
meter?
Yeah, no.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't even know what most of that stuff is. So, for me, I just wanted to be there and see what happened and then talk about it on the podcast.
Cool.
And, I'm not really out to, like, prove anything, prove ghosts exist or don't exist.
Yeah.
That's not really my thing.
Yeah,
I was gonna ask if you recorded the podcast while you were in there.
that'd be cool.
No, I in all honesty, it was really intense to be alone in a place like that, because I'd done my homework before I was there, and down to the point where I could look at like the bottom of the staircase and know that during the Civil War a 15-year-old boy was murdered on that exact spot, and that kind of stuff. And so when knowing the history of it on that level, and then spending the night there alone with no one else there.
Did you have
And
free
just
reign?
hearing
Did you have free reign of the facilities, or did you?
Oh yeah.
Oh,
It
I
was
didn't
just
know.
Me. I could go anywhere and do anything.
I didn't know if they had you.
Yeah,
that
it was-
you had them lock you in a room or anything like that. That would be crazy.
No, the building itself was locked, and I was locked inside of it.
Wow.
But,
Okay.
but there was it was just me,
Wow.
and there was a lot of weird stuff going on that night too. Like at one, you would hear doors opening and closing. You would hear people talking, like on the floor above you. There had been some people there earlier that night when I was there before I was alone, and one of the girls in that group had gotten attacked by something, and she just started jumping around, grabbing her leg, and another lady took her into another room, and they came back, and she had these scratch marks down the inside of her leg.
Oh wow.
So, and that happened like 10 minutes before they left. Right after that, I was all by
I'd be like,
myself.
I'm going with them. I'm not staying here. I'm just going with them.
Who? I was just gonna ask him who like locked you in, because you said you were locked inside of the building.
Well, oh yeah, because it just has like an electronic lock on it, which I had the code for. So it was just they closed the door and boom, it was locked.
Okay, so
And,
if you wanted,
I could leave. I could leave if I wanted, but it was nobody could get in.
oh, okay, I see.
Were you gonna ask something, Simon?
Yeah, it's pertaining to this subject, but has anyone ever like tried doing like the like down in Mexico, like the Mayan pyramids, like where apparently like all the sacrifices were done? Has anyone ever tried doing any like
Sacrifices on body.
no,
Modern-
like ghost shit there to see if there was any like hauntings like there in those particular sites?
Oh, I'm sure they have. I don't know of anything specific, but if it's anything like it is here, it's hard to keep people away from places like that. I'm sure they have to have guards and stuff up to keep people from sneaking in.
Well,
Anything like that in the United States, people will try to get into it.
yeah. When you said you give tours, what is the place you guys visit most? Is it that prison?
No, well, it's one of the things we talk about, but, Charleston has it's an old city, and it has a lot of history, and it has a lot of ghost stories. And it's almost, you wonder what's not haunted as opposed to what is. There are hotels, restaurants. I mean, it's just there are ghost stories everywhere. down
Wow.
What about Philly? Have you done anything in Philly? The like apparently there's a couple places like the state penitentiary they have there.
here. Yeah, Eastern State Penitentiary.
Yeah.
I've never been there, but it is famous for its ghost stories. I don't know a whole lot about the Philly ghost stories. For that, my go-to person would be Dina from the Twisted Philly podcast, who you've already talked with before.
Yeah, we got her next
But-
week. She's going to be live.
Mm-hmm. But because she would be the expert on that. But,
Yeah.
But yeah, like for example, New Jersey. Is that where you guys are
Yeah,
based?
yeah.
Is it New Jersey?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean New Jersey. I would love to take like a big road trip through New Jersey
Yeah.
because there are so many great places, and there's so much folklore there.
There's a lot.
Really creepy folklore there. I mean, you've got like you're the closest example, I guess, at least that I know of for like our jail would be like you have the what is it, the Greystone Park
Yeah.
Psychiatric Hospital.
Yep.
Yeah. I've been there.
Have you been there?
Yeah. I've been there.
I mean, that place is super creepy.
There's one up north. It's like a whole town that's built around this like tower, like, and they call it the Devil's Tower, I think they call it. And it was like a farmhouse, like a big like plantation that was built around this like tower. And when the guy's wife died in it or something, like every time they tried to tear it down, something happened.
There's also real close to us.
So in the middle of this town, there's still this tower.
Shit.
Yeah, it's built around.
devil-
Supposedly, if you drive around it a certain amount of times, you see some shit.
Yeah,
but
I was going to ask
Yeah.
if they don't see any apparitions.
we've done that when I lived up north. Me and my buddies, we never saw shit, but it's there. It's there.
Dude, Batstow Village.
Yeah.
Out in the middle of the woods.
Out west.
Yeah, just west of here. Mm-hmm. The mansion in the middle of the park there.
Yeah.
That's haunted.
Wow.
I went on a tour there one time. We heard like some girl like just like kind of weeping up in the bell tower. There was no one up there.
Wow.
It's crazy.
It's definitely
Well, you know,
worth checking
New
out.
Jersey. Yeah.
What's that
I was
like?
just going to say, New Jersey embraced all of this a lot before anybody else. You know, a lot of this ghost stuff really didn't get popular till the 1990s. But, you know, New Jersey started in like 1989 with the Weird New Jersey magazine.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And,
that is cool.
Yeah, I've met so many people from New Jersey who grew up, you know, teenagers in the 90s who would talk about it. That was sort of like a rite of passage, that when you got your car, you would go drive to these places and, you know, see all the haunted places from the Weird New Jersey magazine.
I've been to the one place too. It's like Levitation Hill, and it's not really on an angle, but it looks like it's a hill. But if you put your car in neutral, it'll roll forward, and it looks like you're going up the hill, but it's not. It's really like a straight road, but it appears like it's uphill. It's cool.
And there's Heartbeat Road. They say if you drive in the middle of the night, you can hear
The
like,
thump.
just, thump thump
Yeah.
thump. Like I've been on it. I didn't hear it. I didn't hear shit.
But talking about devils, you have the Devil's Tree in
Yep.
New Jersey,
Oh yeah.
which you know, supposedly a farmer killed his wife and his kids and then hung himself from that tree. And supposedly, if you try to chop down the tree, you'll die.
Wow.
Yeah, I heard they had to put.
We're
like,
doing that next week as a bit. We're gonna.
Yeah, we're
slam
sending
it
our
down.
intern.
Out
We're
there.
sending our intern to chop down the tree.
I heard they had to put like a fence around it.
Yeah.
Because so many people were trying to like take bark and chunks and leaves and branches off of it. You know?
Nice,
Well,
Mike.
yeah, there's like axe marks all over it.
Wow, Mike, could you tell us a ghost story?
Well, I mean, I can, you know, I was looking through some stuff about New Jersey, and you know, the biggest story for New Jersey, obviously, I don't know if it's exactly a ghost story. It sort of is the Jersey Devil.
Yeah.
You know, that is a fascinating story. And it's a really old story too. You know, it's not just like an urban legend that's just cropped up here in the last 20 or 30 years. This is something that's been around for over 200 years.
Yeah.
And it goes all the way back to the 1700s. And there was supposedly a woman named Mother Leeds. And she was a real person. Her name was Deborah Leeds, and she had a husband named Japet. I guess that's how you say it. They had 12 kids, and then, according to the story, she became pregnant with her 13th child, and she cursed it, saying that she thought it would be the devil. And supposedly the child was born a normal child, but then as it grew up, it eventually turned into this demon and was left to, wander in the Pine Barrens.
Wow.
And the legend was that Deborah Leeds was actually a witch, and supposedly the devil was the father of the child.
There's some other like versions of the birth story too that I've actually heard, where like it was actually born a devil, and it actually ate the midwife and like flew out the window, just like crashed through the window and flew off into the night.
Wow. See, that's even better.
That's the Lamborghini version.
No,
he's got some crazy versions.
No, that's an actual. There's a lot of different. Like I've heard every version of the story, but it's.
Have you?
Like his,
like Donald Trump and the Chinese guy teaming up to take down.
They said they're gonna take out.
He's
Kim
very
Jong-un.
misinformed, Mike.
No, trust
on
me.
a lot of
Trust
issues.
me. I know.
Trust me, it's gonna be huge.
No,
There were actually like photographs, though, right, Mike, of like something flying around Philly and Jersey back in like the 1800s, I think.
yeah.
Well, there's a photo of it from 2015, supposedly.
We had a video too.
Yeah.
We
Yeah,
did.
it looks
We had
like
a video.
it looks like a goat almost with wings.
Yeah.
The best description of it was somebody said it looked like a death metal pinata.
There's like the horse version. There's the goat. Hold on, let me bring some of these pictures up.
I was actually going to ask Mike if he was related to Ed Brown. Ed Brown was the Bigfoot guy. That we
Oh
had.
no! Yeah, we had.
No.
I hope not. That guy was a little nutty.
Yeah. But the thing of this, the Jersey Devil actually started a panic in 1909.
Oh wow.
There were a bunch of newspaper accounts of it being seen in 1909. Even policemen said that they had seen it and fired on it when they encountered it.
Wow.
And it got so bad that all through that area of New Jersey and around Philadelphia, they closed schools, they shut down businesses and sent people home. And these armed mobs went roaming through the barrens with guns, looking to hunt it down and kill it.
Wow.
And the Philadelphia Zoo was offering a $10,000 reward for whoever could bring it in. And there was some enterprising people at something that was called the Philadelphia Arch Museum who wanted to cash in on it. And so they claimed that they had captured it. But what they'd actually done was bought a kangaroo from a local circus and then glued fake claws and bat wings onto it and then put it on display. So I don't think it really, I don't think it paid off. But,
They got ousted.
yeah.
That's cool.
We should just glue wings onto my cat. He's already a mutant.
He's disgusting, this cat.
He would definitely pass as a Jersey Devil.
I was gonna ask Mike, on your show, do you do a different like story every week, or every other week?
Every episode, yeah.
Cool. And
sometimes I'll have like a two-parter or something, but yeah, it's usually a different one every time.
Wow, I listened to your Mary Shelley episode, the author of Frankenstein. I had no idea. Like what did you say? Her husband was like an alchemist, or?
Well, no, her husband was just an asshole, really.
And he thought he had magic powers.
He was, yeah. Her husband, Percy Shelley, who's a celebrated poet, was, the sort of real radical guy, politically, philosophically. And, as so often is the case with a lot of times with these kinds of guys, it tended to go to his advantage. He was in favor of free love and basically wanted to, be able to sleep with whoever he wanted to be able to sleep with. And so he was in a relationship. He was actually, when he met Mary Shelley, who was a teenager at the time, he's already married with a kid and another kid on the way. And he just dumps his wife and runs off to Europe with this 18-year-old girl who's who's a very much an intellectual, and they just go touring Europe for a month and a half until they run out of money, and then they come back. And it's while they were on their way back that they stopped by this castle in Germany, where she heard all of these legends about an alchemist named Johann Conrad Dippel, who had supposedly back in I think it was the 1600s, had been experimenting with transferring the soul. People in those days tended to believe that when you died, your soul was still inside your dead body. And so he was trying to transfer the soul from one dead body to another dead body. I'm not really sure why, but but that was the inspiration. I guess that was the seed. And then later on, she's on another trip to Europe. They have a contest to see who can come up with the scariest story, and everyone else just kind of failed on the contest, and that was where she came up with the story of Frankenstein.
Wow.
And I think part of the inspiration was her husband. That's one of the things I talk about in that episode. That the monster is in the story is mad because its creator abandoned it because it doesn't love it the way it should. And I think she might have been projecting some of her unfeelings onto the monster.
Wow.
But yeah, I try to change it up with every episode. I try to do. I mean, I've done ghosts and I've done werewolves and I've done witches and I've done aliens. So I try to change things around a little bit every time.
I was gonna ask too, like, are fairy tales for folklore?
Yeah, well, I mixed one of my first episode was about the Elisa Lam. You've probably heard of her in the Elisa Lam case at the Hotel Cecil in Los Angeles. Are you familiar with that?
No.
Not that I know of.
Elisa Lam, you said?
The Hotel Cecil is this really old, like 1920s hotel in downtown LA. It's close to Skid Row. It was the inspiration for the hotel season of American Horror Story.
Okay.
And it has this long history of murders and suicides, and two different serial killers lived there at different times. Because part of it's a residential hotel. It's like a transient hotel.
Okay.
And in 2013, there was a college student from Canada named Elisa Lam who was visiting LA and was staying there, and she disappeared. And the last time she was seen was in a security video in the hotel elevator. And looks like she's hiding in the elevator, and she keeps looking into the hallway, and she's hiding in the corner. And then at one point, she just starts moving in this really strange, almost puppet-like fashion, like she's not in control of herself. And then she's just gone. And that was it. Nobody had seen her, and weeks go by, and then people in the hotel start complaining about the taste of the water and how it tastes funny and it smells weird and it runs black when they turn on the sink. And so they send a maintenance guy up to the roof, and in one of the water tanks, they find her body floating in the water tank.
Oh yeah!
Wow.
Yeah, I did hear that story.
I didn't know that.
I didn't know that she was like disappeared in an elevator, though. I never heard that part of it.
Yeah, if you ever see the video, it's really creepy. But the part of that connected to the fairy tale for me is that when I noticed when I watched the video that what she was wearing was this red hooded sweatshirt, and that sort of got me thinking about the story of Little Red Riding Hood, and how she goes into this creepy forest to visit her grandmother, and how Skid Row is kind of like a forest except it's filled with people and not trees.
Yeah.
And how the wolf that she encounters is her wolf in this case might be mental illness, or it might be something supernatural. But the wolf in the story of Little Red Riding Hood would disguise its appearance. It was never what it appeared to be.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of where I got the idea for that story.
That's cool.
But yeah,
man.
I love it when you can kind of mix things together like that, like true crime and a fairy tale or something.
Yeah.
I did that with another episode recently which I called True Crime, about Bluebeard. I don't know if you're familiar with the story of Bluebeard. That's a little more obscure fairy tale.
I was gonna say that, and Donkey Skin is an old fairy tale
Blue-
like that intrigues me.
Bluebeard, he's the guy that would kill his wives.
Interrogator or
Or
something.
Yeah, that's right. That's exactly
yes.
right. He would kill
Yeah.
his wives, and he had this room with all their bodies hung on hooks, and that one to me connected with a murder in the late 1800s in West Virginia, where a woman named Zona Hester had married this guy, and he'd always bragged that he would have 7 wives, and he was already on. She was like wife number 3, and one of his wives had died under mysterious circumstances, and she was found dead. And at first they thought she'd just died of natural causes, but her mother claimed that her ghost came back and told her that she had been murdered and how she had been murdered. And so her mother convinced them to dig up her body and do an autopsy. And it turned out when they actually examined her that her neck had been broken and that she had been strangled. And so the husband was arrested and sent to prison for it.
Mike, we had to
the
wrap
ghost
this up,
sort of
dude. Oh,
indirectly.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry, dude. What were you saying?
Oh, no, I was just going to say, so the ghost sort of testified at the trial. But that was it.
We got to wrap this up, dude, but it was great talking to you, man.
No, it was a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Where can everybody find you?
At Pleasing Chairs on Facebook or Twitter.
Awesome, man. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Have a good one.
Have a
Mike.
good one, brother.
Found
You too.